Hello students, this is a video showing the steps and process for creating 3D text in Blender and then bringing it over to 8th Wall Studio for your augmented reality projects. So let's get started. Share screen. Okay, so you see that we have a basic Blender starter file right here. I just hit new file. I haven't done anything yet. I'm going to remove this cube by clicking it, like left clicking it with my mouse and hitting X on the keyboard and selecting delete. I also want to grab this light and delete that, and this camera and delete that. I now want to add my text. I'm going to use the quote, "Let it be," which is a quote by the Beatles, a song by the Beatles, a record by the Beatles, and the title of one of the documentaries about the Beatles. I think I can really use this quote right now because it feels like a lot of things keep coming up, and sometimes you just gotta let it be and just keep moving, you know? Okay, so to get started, up in the upper left-hand corner, we'll hit Add, and then you'll see a text option right here, really helpful immediately. Okay, great. So it put text right on the ground, flat, facing upwards. So what I'm going to do is hit this viewpoint up here, this Z, which puts me straight on looking at it. This is fantastic. Note that it is skewed over to the right now. We'll fix that in a bit, but just don't worry about it right now. I have this like placeholder text, but I want to change it into my quote. So to do that, I'm going to go up to the upper left-hand corner. Do you see where it says object mode? I'm going to click that and change this into edit mode. Another way that you can swap between these two modes is by hitting tab on the keyboard. You can see without me moving my mouse at all, I'm going between these two modes. In edit mode, it gives me a cursor to mess with my text. So what I'm going to do is type in my lettering, let it be. Fantastic. Tab out of edit mode just to keep myself safe from making any mistakes. Great. Okay, so I've got text in the space and it has my quotes, but what we're missing is that it's not the typeface that I really want it to be, and it's still flat. It's just flat on the ground. I don't really want flat text. Similar to if you watch the spline tutorial, we don't want flat text. That's a 2D thing in a 3D space, which makes sense in some situations, but in our situation, we want 3D text. So to do that, first what I want to do, before I even start to make it 3D, oh wow, the rain is picking up. I wonder if you can hear. To make it 3D, what I want to do, to pick my typeface, what I want to do is go over here on the right-hand corner. There's this A indicating that it is like the text data. It says text up here. It's kind of its name. Change this to quote. And now if you look in here at the actual text within this container, it is called quote. Okay. In this section, we have a lot of great resources. The one that I want to reach for is the font section. So if I come in here and I see all these options, I'm just going to mess with this first one right here and hit this folder. Do you see that? This folder right here to bring in a typeface. And it brought up this really great like font book kind of view for me to pick out my typeface. I'm so thankful for this because it's so annoying to pick out a typeface and not know what it looks like. There's a lot of really great options, I think. For this one, this soft, flowy feel feels really nice to me. If you're letting it be, you're being soft and you're letting it flow, you know, let it go, let it be, let it flow. So I'm picking this one, open font, and immediately we see it applied to our quote. Fantastic. Now that we have it in our typeface, we have our quote, we have it in our typeface, but it's still flat. So let's fix that. I'm going to put it at an angle like this, just so I can kind of see what's happening. Above this font option that we just used and closed is the geometry option. So if we open this up, we see that there's offset and extrude. Perfect. That's exactly what we want. Extrude. When I hover over this right here, it gives me the option of doing a slider if I click and drag. So I'm going to do that. I'm just going to click right here in the middle and drag it to the right. If I wanted to, I could keep dragging to the right forever. It doesn't matter if I hit the end of the screen or not. I'm obviously not going to do this, but I just wanted you to know that it's a possibility. Okay, I actually really like this laying flat on the ground, so I'm probably going to leave it that way. And if you watch the spline tutorial, I was telling you about how you should export each word independently so you can move it around in the scene. I'm also very pro that in this process, but for this one, we're just going to export the one short phrase because I like the idea of it being on the ground and filling up the space with other artifacts that are maybe like flowers and greenery. This could be something that you discover as you're walking, and it's this beautiful sight. Okay, this looks great. The offset, I don't really mess with this one as much, but just in case you're curious, it's kind of like it changes the lines like outward from the center point of like each letter. So you can kind of see it slowly happening there if I go in and out of it. I'm going to undo that because it looks like garbage. You can also mess with the bevel of the edges. So let's just test it out. Okay, we hit the depth. Ooh, yeah, it gets so big. It's a thing. Bring up the resolution. What if I just hit? I'm gonna hit the arrow right here on the right just one time. I think that is. I think that's fine. That's nice. A like soft bevel on the edge there. Fantastic. Okay. All right, so we've got our quote. It's in 3D. We've got a little bevel on there. It's got this great typeface. We're almost there. Let's fix that it's over here to the right. I think that when I bring it in, I want it to have the origin point in the middle of it. And the origin point is right here where the green and this red line meets. You can kind of see that the cursor is right here. This is your 3D cursor. You can move this around too. But there's also the origin point of this item right here. So this is the origin point of the scene and the origin point of the item, which is really helpful and awesome. If I right click on my quote, I immediately get this option, set origin. It gives me a couple of different options to move the geometry to the origin. I like that one. I can tell you right now, we're going to pick that one. There's also origin to geometry. So instead of moving the geometry to the origin, it moves the origin to the center of the geometry. There's also origin to 3D cursor. So if you move that cursor somewhere, you can just move the origin to that. Origin to center of mass, center of volume, blah, blah, or surface. But we're going to hit geometry to origin, which is going to snap it over to that 0, 0, 0, which I love. Look at that. Fantastic. Now that we have our text in the middle, we have our typeface, and we have it 3D, kind of have a nice little bevel edge. Let's give it a color. To see colors and us working with them, in the upper right-hand corner, we have to change our view option. Right now, we're just going to see everything in a single color. This is to save work on the computer so that it doesn't have any like lag or struggle. Okay, so I just clicked this one here where it has a little bit of a shade going on. It's second from the right. Now we can see it more in this white color. Oops, let's move the cursor. With our object selected, going over here to the right, this option that's right under the text option, that's the material option, or the material like settings for your object that you have selected. Select that, hit new, to create a new material. I'm just going to say quote material so that I know it's the material I'm using for my quote. In this scenario, there isn't going to be other things in here, but if it can become like a complicated file, having these names for your materials as you go through, like, okay, this is the color that I use for like the doors or the trim or something like that. It's really helpful to have it named. Okay, great. I don't want it to be white. I was kind of thinking like a nice cool blue, like a calm blue, like let it be blue. Open up this base color option right here. Use my color wheel to pick something that kind of speaks to me. I kind of love this. Do you love this? I love this. Okay, so it's beautiful and blue. It's giving us some examples of what the shadows might look like. I'm loving this. What other settings could we mess with though? If I have it kind of at a nice angle like this, try to look at how the overall color changes, how the edges look different, how the shadowy areas look different, how does the light bounce off of it different as I change these settings. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing that I did earlier where I select the middle of this metallic setting and I'm going to drag to the left and right. Okay, ooh, yeah, it definitely gets kind of darker when I go metallic. And can you see how the light is still pretty shiny on the edges there? That's really nice. Okay, what about the roughness? What if I mess with the roughness? Oh, okay, okay, yeah, so they kind of play together in an interesting way. Look, if I bring the roughness really down, oh my gosh, look at how like metal and like shiny that looks. You can kind of see there's a default like environment uh, image around us. So there's these little reflections happening that would happen if it was like a metal surface. That's pretty cool. I think I want to bring the roughness a little bit more up than that. Yeah, that looks really nice. Something cool about using Blender to create 3D typography is you can also make it semi like transparent. And then there's also the IOR, which has to do with how light is refracted. Oh, it's the index of refraction, which has to do with how light is refracted as it goes through your object, which is really cool. So let's play with that a little bit. I'm going to bring the alpha down, maybe to like there. And now we can kind of see through it. It's almost like this piece of like plastic or ice or glass. And then if we mess with the IOR, okay, here's like one example. It's kind of rendering as I do this, but what if I bring it back down? It's kind of more opaque when I bring it really down, huh? And I go up. Well, I guess it's opaque in a different way. It messes with it in funny ways. I think I want it to be a little bit less transparent, so I'll bring the alpha up. And I think I'm realizing that I actually want to change this blue a little bit to be a little lighter, a little icier. And I think I want my roughness to come back up a little bit too. What do we think? Does this feel cool? I think it's cool. Let's export it. File, export. As I said in class, let's use glTF. I really like their standards and it plays really nicely with eighth wall. I select glTF. I'm going to call this let, gosh, I can do this. Oh my gosh, let it be quote .glb. That's totally fine. I'm going to uncheck animation. I don't need it to think about that at all. I'm just going to leave everything else as is. Export glTF. Okay, so now we have taken our thing that we've made and we have exported it. Now we're going to move into eighth wall over here where I have my project waiting for it and hit this plus button right here. Upload. You can see it opens up this, oh, you know what? I forgot to put it in a specific place. But if we grab the let it be quote right here, uploaded, great. Now I can drop it right here. Takes a second, and there it is. It doesn't show up exactly the same as we saw it in Blender, but it's pretty close. Do you see the transparency? How cool is that? Wow, fantastic. For this one, I think I want to scale it up pretty big. Isn't the right spot? Oh, good. Yes, this is fantastic. Okay, so we've got our text sitting here, and I'm going to populate this project on my own with a bunch of flowers and doodads, everything all around it. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. Check out the other one that I made for Spline, where I talk about creating 3D text in that one, compare the differences and how you can mess with it and what the process is like, see which one you like better. And check out my other video that I made for y'all to see how to set up your AR files in 8th Wall and then export them. Thank you so much for watching this video. The process was open up Blender, delete everything, add text, tab or click to change from object mode to edit mode, put in your words, change the font, center it, extrude it, add a bevel if you like, create a new material that you've added to it, and change that material to how you like, and then export it as a glTF. I unchecked animation, but you don't have to do that. Okay, good luck with your projects.